When someone mentions mental health, what is the first thing that comes to mind? I think back to my psychology class I took my junior year. I was very interested in the way people and how mental health conditions emerge. After learning about mental health in my psychology class, it inspired me to want to bring mental health issues to my community, bring awareness to my mental health issues to my community. I know mental health is within our community because according to Island Healthcare, the self-reported incident of depression on the island is almost double the state average. Bringing awareness to mental health is important to me because I know many people, including myself, who struggle every day with depression, anxiety, and trauma. I decided to use my talents as a photographer, which have been emerging since I was 12, to show mental health issues that affect a lot of people, especially adolescents. Issues such as drinking, driving, sexual assault, social media addiction, and eating disorders. Using resources such as the National Alliance of Mental Health and the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, as well as interviews with people who know a lot about mental health. I was able to create an effective way to bring awareness to mental health. I wanted to present my photographs to as many people as possible. For that to happen, I would need to exhibit my work in a public setting. My show is titled Making the Invisible Visible. Thankfully, after weeks of planning, I am able to exhibit my work at Featherstone and Oak Bluffs. The exhibition has been open to view since Sunday, and today and tomorrow it's open from 1 to 4. I have a total of 18 photographs at my exhibition that represent and focus on substance abuse, sexual assault, social media influence, anxiety, eating disorders, disassociation, paranoia, and self-harm. I enjoyed learning about all these topics because I learned so much I didn't know. With each photograph, there is a paragraph or two giving information about the specific topic on which the photo is based on. I want people to remember the information so they can use it themselves and teach other people to comfort someone they know is struggling with a particular issue. I want to highlight a few of the photographs I took to give you a sense of the project. The first one has to do with underage drinking. Massachusetts has the highest rate of underage drinking in the country. Nearly 29% of Massachusetts minors aged 12 to 20 consume alcohol, according to research collected and analyzed by American Addiction Centers. But if we narrow in on Martha's Vineyard, we find that in 2018, over 30% of MVRHS students had at least one alcoholic drink within a 30-day period. In addition, 3% of MVRHS students drove after drinking, according to the Martha's Vineyard Youth Risk Behavior Survey. This photo is titled Choices. Even though this photograph is intense, the process to create this photo was very fun. It was a little chilly outside, and I was covering the models in fake blood. It was really hard to get them to stay serious because they couldn't stop laughing. My two models are 12 and 13, and the reason I picked younger models is because they are soon to be driving in 3 years. I think it's important for teenage drivers to understand what could happen if they or their peers were to drink and drive. Consequences is the title of this next photograph. I wanted to focus on the passenger in this photograph because sometimes people survive drinking and driving accidents which cause them immense trauma. I told the model on the bottom, what would your reaction be to your best friend passing away because you both were drinking and driving? That was her immediate reaction to my question. While some teenagers struggle with substance addiction, even more are addicted to their phones. When you wake up, what is the first thing that you do? Do you check your phone? Well, a staggering 80% of smartphone users check their mobile device within 15 minutes of waking up each morning. I created 5 different photographs to address the influence and effects that social media has on teenagers. Constantly checking, it never stops, self-sabotage, disassociation, and suffocating. On social media, content that includes negative information is 63% more likely to be clicked on. I created this photograph to represent that statistic. It never stops, features negative comments about body image that represent that social media affects men's body image as well as women's. Another photograph dealing with social media is Suffocating, which portrays the feeling of being extremely overwhelmed and pressured by social media. The overwhelming feelings come from likes and follows. Likes and follows are showing teens actual data on how much people like them and their appearance. With this photo being so intense, it sold for $100. Social media can be good, but also so bad. When someone is sexually assaulted, social media can be detrimental to a survivor coming forward. 1 out of every 6 American women and 1 in 33 men has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. Post-traumatic stress disorder is often developed in people who have experienced a traumatic, scary, or dangerous event like sexual assault. In the 2 weeks following a rape, 94% of women experienced symptoms of PTSD. I made the decision to create PTSD with a man and a woman instead of just having a woman as a central object to break the stigma that men cannot be sexually assaulted. I created the handprints by painting my hands with red paint and covering myself and the other model in red handprints. I put this photo in black and white because it wasn't as powerful in color. Contradictions. Another photo having to do with sexual assault. It was originally printed without the writing. Then I took paint markers to write the quotes onto the pictures. I redid this process 3 times until I liked the way it looked. I picked 8 out of the most common negative responses that victim often received. I chose to place the statements on the neck part because it's in the middle of the photograph, which is where the viewer looks immediately. I wanted this photo to convey that daily comments could negatively affect survivors in coming forward. My concept was conveyed correctly because the buyer of this photograph said, "This is stuff we deal with in our lives." She bought the photograph for $190. This last photo I want to talk about today focuses on recovery. Recovery is a long and hard process, but not impossible. In climbing to recovery, the ladder, which is faded on the left side, signifies the steps in recovery everyone can take. The key to emotional self-care is being in tune with yourself. Self-care can help victims cope with the long and short-term effects of a trauma such as sexual assault. After I finished all my concepts and photographs, it was time to put them together as finished products. As soon as I finished all my photographs, I started printing, mounting, and framing. I'm using frames from the last photography club donated by Mr. Bear, and the 2 sizes of my prints are 11 by 14 and 16 by 20. To mount my photographs, I used a hot press to glue my photographs onto thick professional poster board. It's very rewarding seeing all of my visions in my head work out and come to life. It took me about 6.5 hours to set up my whole exhibition. I had to move everything out of the space that I didn't want. Then I had to decide where I wanted the photographs to make sure no matter which way someone walked, the order made sense. On Sunday night, my exhibition opened for the first time. Some positive feedback was very powerful, blown away, incredible, and has never seen anything this intense by a student at MVRHS before. Over the past 3 days, I have sold 3 photographs in my show: Suffocating, Contradictions, and Questioning. I had a poster with questions about people's thoughts once they walked through my exhibition. All the reactions are what I hoped for. The questions were: did this help you in any way? What emotions did this bring up? How did this change your thinking? And how is this an effective way to bring awareness to mental health? I have highly enjoyed the trial and error that has come with this project. I've never done this much work, let alone research, for a photography project in my 4 years of high school, but it was worth it. As a senior in high school who is officially done with school tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I cannot be more proud of myself that I was able to successfully complete this project.